I'm Julie Griffin, and I'm a therapist with McCoy Counseling in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I wanted to jump on today and talk about the 5 stages of grief. I think most people have heard about the stages or kind of familiar with them, but sometimes when we're going through grief and we know just a little bit about them, we've heard of them, they can be kind of confusing or cause a little frustration when we feel like we're not traveling our grief well, or we feel like we've gone through all the stages and we still don't feel like we've processed our grief. So let's start with what the 5 stages of grief started out as. It actually started out as a model that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross utilized when she was working with terminally ill patients. She wrote a book in 1969 on the stages of death and dying. From that point, we kind of took those stages and adapted them to be stages of grief. And so understanding that these stages of grief are not meant to be traveled in a linear path. We're just not going to do that more than likely. And we might not even have all of these stages in our grief. So giving yourself permission to just be where you're at and working through that, and don't put the pressure on yourself of feeling like you have to move through these stages as they are lined out. So let's start with what the stages are. The first stage is denial, and denial looks like that shock, that numbness, that trying to get your footing after something kind of happened to you. And then the next stage is bargaining, and bargaining is kind of like, I wish we should have, if we'd only, kind of those feelings of guilt and regret. And the next stage is anger. And anger can look like I'm mad at myself, I'm mad at a person, I'm mad at the situation. Or sometimes we can even question our faith in this stage. So then the next stage would be depression. And depression is kind of that feelings of emptiness, of sadness, of tearfulness, of kind of being in a fog. And so that's the stage of depression. And then the next one is acceptance. And acceptance is kind of being able to take that person from our physical world and having them in our internal world, where we know we're carrying them, our loved one, with us on a daily basis, and we're letting them and what they brought to us, our lives, shine through us and let everyone see that. That's acceptance. So again, understanding that we don't travel these in a linear path, and our grief is individual, and there's no timeline on it. So giving yourself permission and being kind is one of the biggest things that you have in grief work. And there's a saying with grief is you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you have to go through it. And I think having the knowledge of these stages and kind of understanding what they are, and knowing that we don't have to visit all of them, and we don't have to do it in a timeline or a linear path, can be a tool that can help you do that, not putting that pressure on yourself, and being where you're at, accepting that, and working on that grief journey. I hope this has helped to shed a little light on the stages of grief. If you are having trouble with your, traveling through your grief journey, if you feel like you need assistance or you have more questions, just feel free to reach out to McCoy Counseling at 270-599-4004 or McCoyCounseling@gmail.com. Again, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this has helped you understand the 5 stages of grief. Thank you.